Y'all thought you were gonna escape it this time, huh? No, we're not escaping the vans. Welcome aboard, everybody, to the American Rail Club Lounge stream. This is the it's everything is terrible out there. It's horrible, and then all of a sudden it just reverses itself. Oh, poo, it's here. Here we go again. Here we go again. Welcome aboard, everybody. Welcome aboard. It is your host and conductor on this wild ride, Demetrius Villa. Man, it has been quite a week. Quite a week. I don't know if the chat here is working too well, but let's give this a chance. I'm not really seeing too many people on the chat here, but we do have people on Discord. Welcome aboard, everybody. Yes, this is a Wednesday stream. Life happens, and here we are. So, hey, it is what it is. But, hey, let's go over the news real quick. So, I'm going to give you, let's do this little 15-minute primer, shall we? And hopefully we can get this. There we go. There's everybody. Okay, Adam Bussier. Well, Renault. Okay, wow, here we go. Okay, Adam, Renault, Ricardo, welcome aboard. Yes, it is going good. And this weekend, I did go to Chicago, which, hold on a second. Where's the, give me just a second, guys. You're going to have to, wait, where is it? Where is it? While I go ahead and get these newspapers, you all can enjoy, there you go. Have some more Vans while I be back. And the newspapers, okay, it's going good, but hey, Chicago. Lovely city, by the way. I mean, it's about, I love the architecture in Chicago, but man, why don't people want to live in American cities? Let me see. Mayors call for more safe spaces for teens after teen mobs overrun Streeterville. What about 300 young people, the youths, the kids, the mostly teenagers, descended on Streeterville and the Loop on Friday evening? It was the 45th time since 2012 that the so-called large group incident on the city's streets. You know what else happened in Chicago this weekend? Let's put this up over here so you guys can see. They're mostly all boomers. It's all old folks. It's all old folks. There's your Elon Musk protest. So there you go. So yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over the age, 6, 7. Okay, 7, 8, 9. Let's give it 9. Let's see how many cops we have here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 cops. Wait, 22, 23, 23. Okay, so the babysitting never ends for the the babysitting never ends. But hey, it's what it is. But look at this. Hold on, let me see if I can get some other stuff over here. I mean, look, Chicago's still a nice city. I mean, look at that. There's your Hancock Tower. There's your whichever, the Lutheran Church. There you are. And of course, you got the subways. We got the L. Look at this. Beautiful architecture. We can still build beautiful things again if we only can. This was something pretty nice I was interested in. It was a whole row of townhouses over here, a whole block of them. And there you go. You have a walkable courtyard, and you have for cars. There you go. You have garages. Yeah, there you go. So it's possible. It's possible. And of course, who can forget? This is my favorite building of all in America, the Carbide building, the Carbide and Carbon building. That is the peak of Art Deco for me. Of course, some people say there's better art Deco. This is just my personal favorite, so why not? Whatever. There you go. But yeah, Chicago. This is a problem with the cities. By the way, did you know that the grape kit was invented in Chicago? Yeah, who knew? Living in a city. But in the same things, you have modern luxury. Modern luxury. There just seems to be just a disproportionate gap between the rich and poor here in the United States, and it's kind of a problem. But hey, it's what it is, and this is why we're having these tariffs over here, right? Is to be able to bring back American manufacturing over here. So Stellantis is idling in Canada. You have now Canada, Mexico plants. They're all closing down, not closing, well, just closing for now. There you go. So we can just go ahead quickly to that. That one doesn't want to load, so let's go keep going. World's second largest automaker, Volkswagen. I don't know who's buying a Volkswagen anymore, but of course Audi and everything else that people keep wanting to buy. By the way, I don't think we can afford new vehicles in our age group as much, and I don't think anybody here should be buying a new vehicle at this point anymore. But hey, good news for if you're let me see. Yeah, Volkswagen, Mercedes, more price hikes. So yeah. The vehicles you couldn't afford anyway are just going up in price. So, you couldn't afford a new Mercedes anyway, but hey, it's up in price. Hope you can lease it. But hey, good news, good news. Ford is offering employee pricing. So that Ford F-150 that was $79,000. Yeah, it's $74,000. Still, it's a little bit more reasonable, right? $79,000 for a Ford F-150. There you go. Look at them all. Please, please, just take them off the lot, please. Please, please buy them. Please buy them. Please. And if you think that cars get any cheaper, well, think again, because, yeah, even though Jeff Bezos is putting in a pump and dump scheme here for this American EV truck company, that's not happening. I don't think it's happening. But, hey, you might as well just go ahead and invest it now and drop it before they drop it over here. I'm pretty sure it's going to be, yep, Series A funding. There we go. There we go. Well, we won't, we'll see this closing down within 6 years or so, right? And it's not just the automobile industry. Eli Lilly, who recently invested, I believe, 800 million, a ridiculous amount of money in, let me see, there we go, 800 million pounds in Limerick, Ireland, where they employ over 3,000 people. Uh-oh, wrong time to be building out overseas. So, there you go. Oh, that's the whole point of the tariffs, right? Is to start making companies think about where they're really putting this all, you know? And that's the whole thing. But hey, good thing is oil's down. Oil's down. It's cheaper. It was nice and cheap to go ahead and drive over to Chicago this weekend, thanks to that. And good thing enough that the car I have had big enough gas tank. I can just go there and back in one tank. It's really good. So yeah. And Vietnam's tariffs offer rejected by Trump advisor, not a negotiation. There we go. It just keeps getting it's back and forth every day. I mean, one hour I was planning one sort of stream, and then the next it just completely changes. I mean, it's just crazy how things are just happening over here. Not that this happens you know, it's not going to really affect us. I mean, everybody's saying in our generation, it's like, wait, you have stocks? That's what it is. But hey, there is one thing that did go up, and wait, here we go. This was funny here. I'm just rapidly going through this, guys. Here we go. And you see, 1989 Corvette C4 Boomer driver here in California. That keep your cars, guys. Keep your cars. Enjoy your 1985. Those C4 Corvettes are really nice. I love the digital tachometers, even though they're kind of iffy, but they're just cool. They're still cool. Yeah. Am I a bad boomer? No, there's space boomers. There's space boomers. Come on, we know that there are. All right, come on. There he goes. But yeah, here it is. Zoomers and millennials who cannot get decent jobs, afford a home, or have a family explaining to people why they voted for Trump and his plans for the economy.
What's the next step of your master plan?
Crashing this plane. With no survivors.
Okay, so and yeah, look, the whole thing keeps going on, right? So factory working, that's what we want for the next generation. Yeah, most people don't want to be working in a cubicle. They want to have decent factory jobs. It doesn't have to be. You can have, 30K and that. You can have six-figure factory jobs. Okay, at least let's put it this way: even if we didn't have all this ridiculous inflation, at least a job where a decent salary, decent wage, decent family wage. Somebody, just one person in the family can be able to go ahead, work again, and be able to, not be ridiculously overworked past 40 hours a week and be able to have and afford a home, just like, I don't know, the last couple generations did. So, yeah, and look, like we saw the last time and like we keep talking about, what did the Trump tariffs do the last time? Not much. You're not going to see that much of a price increase. Now, of course, the tariffs this time around are a lot more aggressive than they were back in 2018 than when he did it back then. But what happened? Well, again, there wasn't really that much inflation. In fact, there was deflation. And then the price of goods, maybe a little bit Just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit. And here's the thing. When everybody keeps saying this is a, a tax on our companies and this is a tax on us, well, to what point is, let's say, company XY going to, importing its woozits over from China and it's charging $30 over here in the United States to go ahead and sell them in a bad economy now, nonetheless. Now, when they're being charged, let's say, 125% more on said woozits, are they going to pass on those prices to the consumer who are probably not going to pay maybe $75 now for said woozit? Probably not. Maybe they'll bump it up to 35, but they're not gonna be charging no $75 or anything like that. Just a ridiculous 125% markup. That's not happening. Okay, and most of these tariffs on the vehicle, it's on stuff that you can't afford. Okay, so even Jaguar, which Jaguar doesn't make anything anymore at this rate. It's unfortunate and it's sad, but Land Rover, I mean, anybody who can afford a Land Rover in our generation, I mean, good on you. But here you go. In the short term, some manufacturers may absorb tariff costs to maintain competitive pricing until existing stock clears, while premium brands in high demand are more likely to pass them on to consumers. Like Ferrari, yes, because I can afford La Ferrari right now. Yes, La Ferrari. I can afford the Ferrari. No, I can't. There we go. But look, it's the whole economy at some point. Look, this was something that we've been needing for a long time. There has to be a correction. We've been in a recession. I don't want to see or hear anything about, have we been in a recession? No, we've been in one. I would dare to say that we've been in a depression since the onset of the great coup of 2020, and we have never actually left said depression. But now we need to go ahead and get the economy on the right track. We need to get this country, forget the economy, okay? Because in this country, we've replaced GOD with the GDP, and it's time to put that back in place. We need to start putting our people first, not the GDP first, okay? So the stocks went up, and they went up, now they're back, they went down, and now they're back up, in a reversal, okay? Funny enough, if you look at the Dow, let me see if I can bring up just real quick. Again, guys, I'm getting through this real quick. I'm going to be at 8:20. We're opening this up. Okay, we're getting there. Let's see. Where is it? Where's that meme? Well, not meme, but anyway. Okay, here. So the Dow Jones on its worst day. On its worst day in 5 years. Let me see. Here we go. Was up 83%. 83%. Look at that. I would bring this up on Yahoo Finance, but I took a screenshot of it so you guys can see. There you go. 83% in 5 years. Okay. Gold. 86% in 5 years. Okay. You got to zoom out the graph. Okay. But silver. 104%. I think I think we know what we should be investing in. That's I think we know. This is the type of thing that we're gonna start to see a better economy out of this. And now we'll get to rail. We are the American Rail Club. We'll get to that. But look at this. Inventories of existing homes in Florida spike in March to highest since at least 2016. The boomers are pricing out the poor boomers out of here. Okay, and again, we kind of make fun of the boomers a lot over here, but we've made the distinction that there's the boomers who have had it really, really good, and there's the boomers who haven't had it so good, and they're being stepped on by their richer cohorts. And this is what we're seeing over here now. Now there's too many homes now in Florida. Look at this. Tampa, Miami, Orlando. So the prices are going to start to come down, folks. The prices will have to come down. And hopefully within a trillion centuries, we may be able to afford a home in this country. Maybe soon. But yeah, all of a sudden now there's a 90-day pause, except for China, which is there's a whole bunch of back and forth, because now they were going to charge for containers from China, now they're not. I don't know, but now we're hitting back with 125% tariffs on China. And if you think it's just our young people and boomers, look, the Chinese boomers are even having heartburn over this too. This has been needing to happen for quite a long time. Our country needs to reindustrialize and come back. But like we said before, we want the railroads to come back. We need to start bringing back manufacturing into this country. And Union Pacific's railroad CEO is very comfortable now working through the tariffs. So let's go through that here. It's just what about the price of eggs? The price of eggs. That's why I buy local eggs. But the price of eggs have not changed for me locally. That's another thing. If we can be able to be more dependent on ourselves, less dependent on a globalized economy, more distributed around between local areas, you're not going to see much in terms of price fluctuations. It's as simple as that. If you have your own local economy, and again, this not means it's not to mean everybody's got to go back. Oh, it's got to be my Jeffersonian agricultural libertarian paradise. No, that's not happening. Okay, let's live in reality. Okay. We can have this sort of stuff. We can have the sort of stuff where you can have, local eggs, local farmers in one town or another that's close to you, and be able to have the economy a bit more stable, that we're not going ahead and importing out, a whole bunch of stuff. Now, in terms of like stuff like coffee and all that, it's just what it is. So the economy has to come back to some sort of reality where we're really putting priority on people and our own people. But here you go. Union Pacific CEO is very comfortable working through tariffs. Yeah, look at this. It's noisy. It's a son of a gun, but we can get through this the same way we got through the tech bubble and COVID. He can't control what governments do, and he's comfortable through all of this. So yeah. And if you don't like me, I don't. This is funny. But yeah, we need some tough guys over here. Union Pacific works with more than 180 short lines and regional railroads. Okay, and speaking of short lines, our Surface Transportation Board designee, chairman designee, I really like this guy, this Patrick Fuchs, because according to this article, it's pronounced like books, Fuchs, not the other word. Keynote speaker at the American Short Line and Regional Railroad. So he wants to go ahead and start deregulating a whole bunch of the railroads, increase competition, increase growth in short lines. And hey, at that point, if we start doing that correctly, we can start to see more stuff like we see with Brightline. It's just a matter of having that. Now that the 95% of the staff is returning back, there you go. Making sure that they're more efficient, encouraging market-driven solutions. That's the type of stuff that we need in this country now. Because it's only gonna get worse. And again, we need to start really figuring out of reindustrializing our economy, because let's face it, things have already crumbled. I almost got gotted this. Well, I didn't get gotted, but the city almost did here in Indianapolis, where a train derailed because things are falling apart. Look at how old this bridge is. The bridge didn't collapse though. And then everybody freaked out because there was some sort of chemical, and it just happened to be cornstarch. So the local populace will be quite happy. There's cornstarch all over.
Train comes off the Southeastern Avenue in South Sherman.
Yeah, these bridges are like 110 years old. They're still holding up somehow, but yeah, and they're cleaning this up. But again, we have to go ahead and bring back manufacturing. And again, it's not just tariffs. Okay, tariffs themselves, and I've said this time and time again. There's a carrot and a stick. Okay, the stick are the tariffs. We have the stick. Now it's time to start putting in the carrot and rewarding companies that go ahead and build here in the United States, or reindustrialize, reshore, whatever we want to call it. Okay? Because we can make cool stuff again. The cool stuff doesn't have to be overseas like in China over here. Look at this. They're living in cyberpunk paradise here with look at that. We can build this sort of stuff over here. Okay, we don't have to have the rusty, crumbling L. Okay, we can have cool. Now, let's not replace the L with that. But you guys know what I mean. So yeah, it can be better. It can be better, folks. Alrighty. Okay, I'm done at 8:23. Not too bad. Let's go ahead and pop this out over here. Let's start bringing everybody over here. Let's go. Let's go. Amtrak is having equipment shortages, becoming a crisis. Yeah. It's like I said, we need to start building. It's as simple as that. Let's just start building. Okay, I'm bringing everybody on.
Flying King, have arrived.
There we are.
Hey,
folks.
Hello,
Folks. Welcome aboard, folks.
Dimitri, I sent you a screenshot of one of the buses in live chat that operate in my area. Like,
One problem I'm
Oh.
right now.
Okay.
So
Watch
here's
where you
the
step.
one thing you. So here's the one thing you have to take into account for
Did you-
public transit.
I do.
You have to take into account with funding. How much
Like-
of your money is going to that, and how much of that money is going to their pocket?
Like, look at it. The bus ain't look like going to fall apart.
Yeah.
I'll
Hey,
tell you
if
what,
they
I'm gonna
need
be- hey,
buses, call me. I can sell them a couple new buses. Tariff free, no
so,
tariffs.
Let me
Made
tell
in
you
America.
right now.
Also,
You have to ask yourself: is that the step, or is that the whole frame? If it's the whole frame, that bus is screwed beyond the pooch.
No, it just looks like it's that part. I mean, whatever salt they were. Well, then again, it's what you're in Charleston, right? So I mean, they don't get much snow there, if ever. Only that one time.
we did get snow back in January of this
And
year.
how much snow was it?
A good about almost near a foot, not a full foot, but near.
Right. That. Are you sure you're measuring that right? Is you sure? Is it like a light? Does it look like a light dusting? Or is it completely covering the ground?
It was not a dust and a snow. It was actual snow. It covered my boots.
Damn.
Like,
I wish I had that. Oh, wait, I
Alrighty.
did.
Yeah,
Then
now that we
all
got
went
into
away.
the primer over here. Okay, so Darius
Yeah.
posted here an article. Toyota Corolla may be the closest thing to a tariff-proof car. Because funny enough, like I keep saying before, if you want to buy American, it's Honda or Toyota, which Toyota still has the largest, funny enough, the largest plant in America in Kentucky
Well,
is a Toyota plant.
Did you say Toyota? Did you say Toyota?
Yes, the Japanese company.
hey, Dimitri,
They
let's
make
not
a
forget
plant
the Volvo
here.
plant.
The
They make
Corolla's
a plant here.
Okay, guys, one at a time. One at a time.
Go ahead,
Dimitri.
David.
All right, dump trucker. Let's go dump trucker. We haven't heard a little bit of from dump trucker right now.
Oh yeah.
So the Toyota imports most of their cars from Japan.
Right, they're
Most
getting
of their
that.
cars come from Japan.
Yeah, they're getting that 25% tariff, but most of the stuff that they sell, like the RAV4, Honda's the Accord and the CRV.
I have
Yeah, those are the biggest
I have
sellers.
a smaller version, but I have a smaller version of the Tundra.
Yeah, I think they still make they make those here. Yeah.
All right. I'm
The
about to
Civic
say
my dad and I
about-
drove
Okay.
was made in Canada.
Darius. Okay, Darius, Minor Tree, and then David. Darius,
Corollas and all right.
go ahead, man.
Corollas and Civics are actually made everywhere. Corollas have been the most mass-produced cars in the world. They're the spiritual successor to the Volkswagen Bug. A cheap, simple, four-wheel way to get yourself from point A to point B.
Yeah, we need to be making something like that over here. Okay, Minor Tree. Now it's your turn, and then David.
Or you can be like me, who bought a SUV that was just shy of 4 years old, and I got notifications on Facebook that of the 8-year anniversary of it about a month ago. So it's like, hey, just buy a vehicle and then keep it in good working order for 7+ years, and you don't have to worry about it. Plus, since it was almost 4 years old, I got it for half price.
There you go.
So when you're doing the math, it's like, all right, can you pay for the depreciation out of the gate? If not, get it used. And the best time to look for it's 3 to 5 years old.
Yep, solid
That's
advice
when,
there. Don't-
that's when most of the depreciation is going to happen.
Yeah, let somebody else eat the depreciation, and you just go ahead and buy a car that's still good. It hasn't even been fully broken in yet. It's like as long as
Yeah,
it's still under 100,000 miles, it's mostly good.
And once you realize that, hey, once you look at the numbers, you're realizing one simple fact, that most of the recalls happen in its first 3 years. So if it's going to get recalled for anything, those problems were going to be addressed by the time you even look at it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The
So
problem
once
with
you do
callbacks,
those numbers, it's like, all right, what do you need? And then you can just start breaking down the numbers. For most people, they don't even need anything more than a Toyota Corolla for 90% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
the problem is that callbacks, they
Or even
find the
better,
problem
most
after
people.
they make the car. And mass,
Sometimes.
Well, so, that's sometimes.
And
It's
then
weird.
there's the Ford Pinto issue that keeps happening from time to time,
Oh man.
where they know about it beforehand, but it's cheaper to let it go out.
Yeah, they lied.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey,
All right,
All right, David,
Yeah.
you wanted to say anything?
let not forget about the Volvo and BMW plants that we have here in South Carolina, because we got a Volvo plant and a BMW plant. So
Yeah, and I think that's really what companies now, like, whether these tariffs happen or not, or whether it's just posturing, whether he's going full blown and then saying, oh, actually no, nothing is happening, there's no tariff, maybe 2 more weeks there may be tariffs or anything like that. Companies that have enough cash and enough enough to go around, they're gonna say, hey, look, we're done figuring out whether it's yes or whether it's no. It's going to be more stable just to build the United States and just get over with it, and then hire local in the United States. So that's the whole point of this. It's going to be chaos, and if you don't want the chaos, you start to build here. You start to source here.
and
Simple as that.
Speaking of that,
sorry, go ahead.
I got some sad news. The red car trolley in Disney World is now officially closed.
Oh man, that was the old Pacific
F's in
Red
chat,
Line.
F's in chat.
That's an F.
F
Yeah.
in chat. It's sadly,
I sent the link. You want to see this?
The sad reality is, if you're trying to save money, sometimes you have to discontinue something to save money, especially since parts for trolleys are harder to find these days. So that makes maintenance a whole lot more expensive.
Yeah.
And a lot more impossible.
Well, they still have apparently one. It says one of the only 2 red car trolleys. And this, for anybody who doesn't know, this was the original Pacific Red Line trolley in Los Angeles, when Los Angeles had like hundreds of miles of trolleys. Los Angeles wasn't a car hellscape before.
So what they probably did was they got rid of that one because they could no longer find parts and really could no longer maintenance it anymore because it was beyond the age of operation. Nothing operates that old anyway.
I mean, it's mainly an attraction. I mean, they can keep it running for 200 years if they wanted to. It looks like they're just donating. It says, new home at the Garner Holt Foundation. Thanks to this generous donation from our friends at Disneyland Resort, this piece of theme park history can continue to inspire the next generation of dreamers and doers to discover potential careers in STEM and STEAM, whatever STEAM is. I've heard of STEM, but not STEAM. But I hope, for you guys, I hope it's more steam trains. Here we go.
Yeah, and Brightline would like to speak, most likely, probably on the collapse in.
Yeah, I was about to say, Brightline, you haven't been at any clubs or anything, right?
Right. So I haven't been in clubs or everything, but that tragic news was a day ago, and that actually swept the entire nation.
What happened?
A Jet Set dance club in Santo Domingo just collapsed, and about 124 people died.
Oh wow, it's up to 124 now.
That's confirmed numbers.
Okay.
They're still probably counting the ones they haven't found yet.
Yeah, they said there was like another 100 or so that have been, injured. 100 and you said 24 now that are confirmed dead, and probably more to come.
Out of all
the news, what? Out
of all those people that are dead, 3 famous people died in that very same day.
Yeah, there was a picture too.
Yeah. Ruby Perez was one of them. He was a musician. He used to make some songs. He used to go around the world with his merengue. So
there you go.
That's one heavy loss. Also, the dance club had actually suffered a fire in 2023, and since then they haven't inspected the building.
Yeah,
There's gonna be a lot of lawsuits.
that probably is why you had a whole bunch of it.
That's illegal.
Yeah.
That is as illegal as legal can get. You cannot, after a fire, you cannot operate in a building until someone says it's safe to operate in it.
There's gonna be a lot of lawsuits.
Yeah, look, hey, and it's not just over in the Dominican Republic like we had over in Florida and Surfside when that whole apartment building collapsed. It's just we do have to have there's a balance to having regulation, right? You cannot just have completely no regulations at all because then it turns into BioShock, okay? And then you have people killing each other. I'm sorry, not everybody can operate on the the non-proliferation agreement or whatever it is. But here's the thing: is that you have to have common sense regulation. Okay, a building that has gone on fire, and the whole thing apparently should probably be condemned and rebuilt. Okay, the foundation is probably crumbling. The ceiling is not in good condition. There's probably beams that are, or however this building was constructed, that makes perfect sense as to how it collapsed. And they probably have a whole bunch of equipment hanging from the ceiling in odd and random places all over the place. Yeah, it was bound to collapse, unfortunately. And when it did, this is unfortunate.
What's funny is that the owner did not tear down the building. He did not tear down the building. Instead, he renovated it, which is so disgusting. I'm so disgusted. By the way.
Now you can renovate a building, but it depends on how bad the fire was. Was the building completely engulfed in flames?
Yeah,
it was like a simple? Oh, that building should have came down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be condemned. It should have been condemned.
In the U.S., it would have been condemned, but because in other countries they don't have the same regulation standards that we do, they don't give a shit.
Yeah, speaking of other unstable structures, there's a bridge that's bound to collapse right now. If the authorities intervene earlier before a tragedy starts, they better intervene in that situation right now because they got to tear down that bridge.
Is this bridge is this bridge here in the United States or over in the Dominican Republic?
Everybody, can everybody hear me?
In the Dominican Republic.
Okay, yeah. I mean, hey, look, as we've seen over here, I mean, bridges have already collapsed over here in this country as well. Oh, it's not good. The whole world's falling apart at this rate.
Well, they've got like inspections. If a bridge doesn't pass an inspection, then it has to get replaced, and most states will jump the gun and immediately get that on their plan to replace it.
Yeah,
that's if the state has, but that's if the state is ahead. I'm going to use my state as an example. We have a whole 5-year plan that is well behind the progress of the state. Well behind the progress of the state.
Wow.
And what makes it worse is that there are basically homes underneath that bridge. There are a lot of homes underneath that.
That's going to make it challenging because you have to tear down the bridge without damaging the home.
Yeah, it's rusty at this point.
And my guess is that they're trying to figure out how they can tear down the bridge without damaging the home. Yes. But it may very, very well end up being where they have to condemn the homes to tear down the bridge.
Yeah.
Which, not gonna lie, you should not have a house under a bridge.
Yeah.
Speaking of shifting, shifting priorities over here. What do you guys think of Patrick Fuchs over here, wanting to go ahead and increase accountability on the Surface Transportation Board?
I
can kind of agree with that a little bit because, I mean, accountability-wise, sometimes they might let something go that shouldn't be let go.
Oh yeah, that for sure.
I agree with that.
Just kind of like the FAA that was giving Boeing a free pass.
Yeah. Here, let's get this.
You have to regulate.
Yeah, there's got to be regulate. And look, if you got to do something, you got to do it quick. You got to do it to the point. And the problem is in this country, It's too encumbered. It's too big. The problem with big government, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily strong. It means that it's over encumbered, and the people who can roll it around, you have this big fat government, they're rolling it around, they can roll it whatever they want. And right now it's tumbling all over us. Okay, we want a lean government. We want a Mike Tyson government. Okay, it's not he's not a big guy, but he's strong. That's what we want. We want a government to be strong and for us. Okay, not biting our ears off, but you know what I mean.
Oh, come on. That was the best part of the fight.
Sadly, we need a smaller government to do that, because the smaller the government, the better the communication.
Bingo.
Just like smaller the company, the better the communication.
Yeah. So here you go. The board has been too slow and too inaccessible, said Fuchs, who first appointed to the board by Trump in 2019 and was his choice to lead the body in January. A tank car case, for example, took 10 years to complete. We should complete statutory work. Yeah, 10 years. Required work in a timely manner. So far, we've been making decision in cases 28% since last year. We have increased decision-making cases since by 28%. Yeah, 10 years to make a decision.
10 years?
That's way too long.
What is the East
ridiculous.
Palestine disaster?
10
What
years.
is the East Palestine disaster?
How long do other countries do the same thing?
Hey, when was that East
Probably a
Palestine
week.
disaster?
Now, with me being the short line king, I got 2 short line articles that I sent in live chat that you might want to look at, Dimitri.
Yeah.
They're pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well, let's get this Brightline story here, though.
Like ARC, when was the East Palestine disaster in Ohio?
Oh, the one from last week?
Oh, they're still talking about that. They're still talking about that. They're still talking about that.
I know.
Yeah. Speaking of accountability, that's all in Norfolk Southern. That's without a doubt. And it has to be.
If they're blaming the tank, if they're going to blame the tank study, they're a few years too late on that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, they're a few years too late on that study.
All right, let me see this article that David sent. Brightline introduces new rewards program. Yeah, this I heard. Let me see. So we're providing incentives for Florida residents who make up 66% of riders and repeat customers who are 72% of ridership, as well as attract new riders. There you go. Look, it's been working. It's working.
Yeah, that is working. I see that as working, because that means people are riding it and people are taking it, and that's great for daily riders.
Based Brightline, as always.
Based Brightline.
I may not be.
Yeah, and then you have to realize that is a regional train system compared to the rest of the world. Just think if it was a true high-speed rail, it would blow the demand for airlines between Miami and Orlando basically to less than 20% of its peak.
And somebody, I saw YouTube yesterday, somebody took an Amtrak train from New York to Nyack to Toronto. It took 12 hours on Amtrak just to get to Buffalo.
From New York City.
From Toronto. Yeah, from New York City on Amtrak.
I'm not surprised. That's
sad.
If that
was a high-speed rail train, that would blow every single airline out of the park.
If there was a true high-speed train, let's say it's peaking out at 186 miles an hour, which is 300 kilometers an hour for the rest of the world, it would basically get from New York City to Buffalo in what, 2 hours, 2.5 hours at most?
Probably, yeah. Sounds about right. Ricardo Noel asking any news on Brightline going to Tampa. This is the only Brightline news we got, man. So far, I haven't heard anything about Tampa yet. Unless anybody else knows, I may be wrong.
People don't want to take the plane. It takes too long.
That's funny.
Planes are still practical when it comes to crossing between islands, no matter the distance.
That or going across the country. That can also be pretty helpful.
All right, I do get another article talking about Omnitrax, which I get it in the live chat.
Let's see. Let's pick one over here. So Omnitrax. Let me go ahead and get that here.
Oh,
All right, good.
Battery electric. Is that in the Northeast or is that down south?
All right, Ohio-based Newburgh and South Shore Rail Line today entered the first battery electric locomotive into revenue service in the United States. So, yep, there we are.
You don't even have to read the rest of that. The moment you said battery electric in Ohio, I was like, oh, that's not gonna. My mind's clicking. That ain't gonna work in the time.
Yeah, I think this is more for just switching. I don't think this is going anywhere 100 or 200 miles or anything like that. This is
Maybe in the heat of the summer, but not in the wintertime.
Yeah. This deployment reinforces our commitment to innovation, environmental responsibility. We're proud to lead. Okay, so the same boilerplate. Put this media kit up. Yeah, that's basically what they're saying here.
Right. Yeah, and the worst part about it is assuming that battery works its tail off for the best part of a decade, which is best case scenario, it's going to be more expensive than if they just electrified the entire line and then just got a regular electrified train to do it.
Oh, and here, Shane, Omnitrax, people do not like Omnitrax in Canada for some of the crap that they pulled in Canada back a couple of years ago, if y'all remember.
All right, so explain it for people who haven't heard about it, David.
If you remember the railroad that go through Canada right up to, I can't remember it was Whitehorse or it was the northern town in Canada. The northern one where you could take a train to right before you get to the Antarctic. And it alight along the rig. I can't remember the name of the town, but it's very famous with polar bears and all that.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I believe it was Churchill, if I'm right. But let me go to Google Maps real quick. I'm going to Google Maps.
All right. In the meantime, Rennell Reed is on here, so anybody who hasn't spoken yet, go ahead and you have a chance now. So Rennell, how's it going, man? All right, got your you're still on mute, man.
Hello.
Okay, well, Adam everywhere. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How's everybody doing?
Doing amazing.
Good day, can't complain.
Oh.
I see. David Jackson on YouTube. Dual power, please explain. Yeah, this one is not dual power. This is just battery electric.
Hey, ARC. Chicago Northwestern 3985 is going to a museum in Wisconsin. I think it's the Mid-American or something.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, that's real good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I gotta check out some more rail museums. There's a whole bunch around in this area. Not just here in the Midwest, but around the country. I gotta start doing that series again of
I want to go to the Illinois Railway Museum. I'm going to go to the Illinois Railway Museum sometime this summer.
Let me see. Rennell, tonight. Yeah, come back. Yeah, Rennell, get back out and in again. Maybe it'll work. I don't know why it's not working. All I'm seeing is that your mic is off. Yeah, you're not muted or anything, man. You're fine. Okay. Yeah, we gotta start getting back out there to museums.
I gotta go back. It's Churchill. I remember. It's Churchill.
Okay, Churchill, Canada. So Omnitrax, Churchill, Canada. So what exactly happened here?
It's the part of is actually neoclassic.
What happened is the lineup there, they let it go so bad that when they had a natty flood back in 2018, the line got shut down and they refused to rebuild the line because a Via Rail train was stuck up there because that's the part of route that Via Rail goes up to. And the reason why the Via Rail train went up there because of polar bears and all of that. It was a tourist hotspot. And they refused to rebuild the line. It took another railroad company coming in and rebuilding it and finally operating trains on it again, what they started doing about 5 years ago.
So between it closing down and Via Rail finally coming back in and getting in, how long was that gap?
2 years.
Okay, well, that's not too bad. I mean, we're still waiting for the Pontchartrain, whichever it is, that bridge to come back again, or at least Amtrak to get across there again.
Well, you know what? That's still pretty far, considering 2 years, Canada. Isn't that like the only connection that town has to thinking the rest of Canada?
Oh yeah, that town, they were pissed. Like Churchill, they would cut off from the rest of the world during the summertime, and you were only able to get in by boat or plane, and that was expensive.
Let me see if I can look that up.
If the tracks are rebuilt, they would have had all year-round service, which they finally do again. But they do get something called ice roads during the wintertime with ice road truckers.
And the problem with ice roading is that when the ice is too thin, you can't travel on that.
Oh, I know. Speaking of that, I did put the first meme of the live stream up.
Okay, here we go. Yes, you
No, I
guys see
put up
Residence
a
Trail
meme
against
in the
U.S.
pre-show.
company as Port Churchill's future is on the line. Yeah, that's okay. There we go. So that's what they're talking about there. Yeah, it's again, we're talking about we just gotta rebuild here. The whole country, the whole nation's falling. Real fan photographer started. Is this AI?
Yes, someone is AI, but it's good.
That's not too bad.
Every time I use AI, it always looks messed up.
Like, seeing it, even though AI did, I don't know how they managed to get it right, but it looked good, doesn't it?
Hold on, I got my soundboard here somewhere. Where the heck did it go? I had a soundboard here. There you are.
This better not be ChatGPT.
Probably
now you gotta make it Studio Ghibli now. It's the highway we gave up for. It wants to reconnect. Oh man.
I just said the next one too.
Yeah, but
like
the
to
thing
troll.
about
We
AI
like
is
to go
everyone
debate before
keeps
one of their
abusing it.
primaries
The only important thing
We do a
that
little
AI was
trolling.
created for was to get the leaders of heads of state to trash talk each other in Smash Brothers and to sing songs together. Not what everyone else has been doing with it.
Oh.
Well,
Man.
I see AI as more of the fastest way to get an answer to something.
Whoa.
Hey, Dimitri,
It really is.
That was almost an India moment right there.
Well, speaking about Canada, Via Rail is hitting with Canadian National just is making the top speed of their lines between Ottawa and Montreal, I believe, stricter than it's supposed to be.
So they're lowering the speed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh man.
CN is starting to become a very bad railroad. They're turning that.
Yeah, look, as much as we say everything is bad over here in this country, I mean, it can always be worse. We can always be Canada.
Speaking that Sienna right now in hot water right now, and I will send you the reason why. The article right here in live chat.
Let's go ahead and put that on here. This is turning into the Canadian Rail Club. How many more Canada articles do we have?
Canada.
I wish I could answer that.
Canada, what are we doing, man?
No more.
Well,
to
solve this issue, we might have to annex Canada.
Okay.
What you doing today, Bob? What's going on today in Canada today, huh?
Alrighty, no more. All right, let me get this one archived.
Everyone needs to work on your Canadian accent.
I tried to do the
I'm not going to French.
Let me help you, man, boy.
Oh man, this stream is gonna.
We're gonna get the stream canceled.
No, I'm not gonna
say
eat
anything.
I'm not gonna eat
everybody equally. We insult everyone equally.
Exactly. That's who we are. There's no one's above anyone over here in the American Rail Club.
We insult everyone with love.
Well, if we haven't insulted you yet, please wait. We're hitting each group in turn, so just take a number. We'll call you in a minute.
Hold on, I got a soundboard for that. Unfortunately, you guys in Discord aren't going to hear it. Unfortunately, but here we got it for YouTube here.
We do a little trolling.
We do a little trolling. There we go. All right, I got to figure this out to get the soundboard over here on the stage because that's going to make.
I know
Discord
has its own soundboard.
Yeah, it's a soundboard, but it's on the voice channels, not on the stage.
Yeah, but here's the article. Northwest tourists seek to. All right, you can read it, Dimitri.
All righty, hold on a second. Hold on, let me see what you got here. Are we still in Northwest Territories here?
Yeah.
Another Canada article.
Okay.
From Canada yet?
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Wait.
Canadian one. The last Canadian one.
The last Canadian one. This is the last Canadian one, guys. Okay, here we go. The last
official one.
The last Canadian article. That's enough. All right.
Wow.
Northwest Territories seek federal action to restore CN service to Hay River. Okay, Hay. From Edmonton. Yeah, Edmonton is pretty far up, so we're going all the way over to the Great Slave Lake. What's the matter with Canada? Why would you call it the Great Slave Lake? What? Wait, no, there's Slave Lake down over here. There's the Great Slave Lake. Anyway.
What is up there, oil?
To examine Canadian National's railway's decision not to repair its damaged rail line to Hay River, which has been the northernmost point on the North American rail network. Is that officially the most northernmost point, or isn't Alaska Railways higher?
I'm saying anything further north of Edmonton, I can't say there's no more cities. There's no big populations that's north of that.
Let's see. Okay, so Vince McCain, Infrastructure Minister for the Northwest Territories, said on Monday that the territorial government has applied for adjunction with the Canadian Transportation Agency. All right. Good luck for Canada. All right, that's it. No more Canadian articles. We're done. No more Canadian articles. That's enough. This is the American Rail Club, not the Canadian Rail Club.
So,
if anybody in Canada wants to start a Canadian Rail Club, we can collab on that. But no more Canadian articles for tonight. I'm done.
Well, I do want to say when you mentioned earlier about the little protest in Chicago they had about around Tesla.
Yeah, and it's just hilarious. I mean, most of these protests just seem to be, sorry, it's all boomers. That's the thing. It's like the whole economy is kind of just based around them. It's like it's just what it is. And that's the sad part is that unfortunately, because the family has been so messed up in America. I mean, you see these protests, and it's like there's maybe somebody under the age of 35, maybe 1 out of 10, and it's probably one of their granddaughters. But the problem is that we don't have multi-generational families that can support that, and that was the retirement plan before for most of all of human civilization existence. That's what it was. It was staying with the kids, and the kids would support you. But now in this country, since we've gotten rid of that, now unfortunately, the stock prices go down. You can't afford your third RV. And again, it's not for all of them. Why do I have to keep apologizing for this? Why do we have to keep doing this? Come on, you guys are smarter than that. Come on. When everybody makes fun of millennials, we don't care. I mean, we're down bad as it is. Or when people make fun of Zoomers and their sense of humor, okay, cool. It's funny. I think it's funny.
I see the tariff problem as a leverage point. It's more like a leverage point. The amount of tariffs, I see it as leverage.
Yeah, and I think with there's a generational shift within the Trump administration. Whether again, don't put your hope on any politician or anything like that, because they're not going to change much of anything. We get that. And those who have been burned by Trump before in the first term. Learned your lesson. Okay, it's funny, it's whatever, but he's not going to fix much of anything. It's just what it is. But what we're seeing now is a change, like we see with JD Vance now as VP, and the damage, the wrecking ball that is Elon Musk. I mean, honestly, these protesters and Elon Musk deserve each other. I think it's hilarious. Let it keep happening. Again, I don't have too much love for Elon Musk either. I think he's hilarious. I think some of the stuff he does is silly, but that's just what it is. I don't really have a positive or negative opinion on him. It can shift either way. I don't have to have either one. But you're seeing a lot more of his administration is mostly either millennials or Gen Z. I mean, even in Doge, it was, basically more or less second in command was a whole bunch of Zoomers.
Yeah, yeah. And for those complaining about Elon Musk being a part of the administration, Trump hired him as a temporary advisor for 130 days. So if you don't like Elon, don't worry. You just have to wait, another month, and legally he's gone?
Yeah, don't worry. He'll be back playing some bot account on some new online MMO or something like that.
My guess is that Trump hired him because...
I said two more funny meme and they're Pokemon memes.
All right, Dumb Trucker, what were you saying?
Trump will respect the 130 days and say, okay, great job with those. Now someone else is going to handle it. And then he'll go back to managing his company the end act.
I think Tesla's going to need a little bit of help right now because they're not doing too well. And honestly, I think it has less to do with Musk than just the electric car market itself. It's not mature at all. B, I think it's hit its limit where it's going to be. The whole car market right now just sucks. So, I mean, and then on top of that, the electric car market, I think that if we just hit a max for the next couple of years, there's not going to be really an increase in electric cars in terms of market share. That's not happening.
Trump undid the electric car mandate, so they're going to find, and oil prices are going down, so they're going to build gas.
Yeah, look, Ford is doing whatever they can to get rid of them. Ford is just giving you the Charger for free. They're throwing in as many incentives as possible because they have all these Mach-E's and F-150 Lightnings that are just on there, and they're giving you employee pricing on top of that. So I don't know. You may get a better deal on an F-150 Lightning than an F-150 gas car right now. It's gas truck.
I have a little story with Ford. Their dealerships are the best in the entire world.
What's the best in the entire world?
Meaning for people, but also scamming at the same time. Like, we went to one of my local Ford dealers, and we showed, and they were just all of the salesmen were inside. In the hot sun, no one around. The moment they saw someone get out of the vehicle to look at a Ford vehicle, one of them ran over.
Yeah, the car buying experience in this country needs to absolutely change. I mean, it's not entirely fair, and it's not good for most people. And that's why people have a negative view of car dealerships. It's always okay, here we go, we're gonna do battle with the sales reps at the dealership. Okay, it's good, and that's not a good place to be coming from.
Yeah, and when it comes to the vehicles themselves, they still haven't solved the battery problem because plus lithium ion is undoubtedly a great battery. It's just not very good when it comes as a great battery for vehicles itself. They're just slightly underpowered for what they're needed, and they're slightly too heavy for what is ideal.
The problem, and when you put them in water, they just become a giant fridge.
Yeah, lithium tends to react with oxygen rather enthusiastically.
Oh, yeah.
The problem, the main problem is that these cars don't have the same way of battery. And Ford, when they realized their electric car mistake, it was well too late because they made so many of them. So they had to stuff them on a lot.
I mean, forget the batteries or anything like that. It's just the electrical grid in this country. We're 50 years, if not 75 years behind. I mean, this is why we keep talking about nuclear power over here, right? So that gives me an excuse to put another soundboard.
Legalize nuclear power.
Our electrical grid.
All right, I'll reset date on when was the last time we talked about nuclear again. Back to zero.
So, nuclear probably seems like a great idea. 5 Mile Island.
Nobody died at 5 Mile Island. Nobody died.
3 Mile.
Or 3 Mile Island, whichever. 3, 4, 5, whatever. The bad sequels. Nobody died.
No,
I'm not talking about a nuclear event. I'm talking about Ireland's only nuclear power plant that got shut down. I think Apple bought it just to power their own system.
Yeah, and it's simple.
No.
Look, you put, magic rock, spoils up water. There you go. Unlimited power, more or less.
No, the worst thing happened at 3 Mile Island. The worst thing that happened at 3 Mile Island, they shut down reactor number 3 where the leak happened, and they ran all the other reactors in the meantime, and nobody batted an eye.
And then they eventually just shut it down, but now Apple's bringing it back to life.
Yeah, hey, it's just what it is. That we got. That's the future. Nuclear power has, and always will be the future of electricity. It's just the way.
And remember, that was early generation 2 reactor. We now have generation 3 reactors that are much more powerful. They produce a lot less waste, and you can recycle the material up to, depending on how well you can recycle it, 90 to 95% of the material can be recycled.
The Gen 3 reactors, small modular nuclear reactors. I mean, there's a whole bunch of options. One of the things I hate about driving up to Chicago over here in Indiana, past north of Lafayette, I think it's Remington, Indiana. There's like 20 miles of driving where it's just windmills after windmills after windmills. And it's probably like 20% of them aren't even working. They're just there and they're stuck. So you have to, in order to get the power from any of these windmills, you have to overpay somebody to go ahead and go. If you have a fear of heights, forget it, because it's a pretty dangerous job. I'm pretty sure more people have died from working on windmills than in nuclear power plants at this rate.
So ARC, quick question.
Go ahead.
Have you ever driven past them at night?
You there, man?
Hello?
Yeah. Your mic's cutting in and out.
Oh, man. Of course it's doing that. Hello, this better?
Yep, better.
So, have you ever driven past windmills at night?
Yes.
Do you see the red light flashing?
Yep. I remember those.
That means I think the windmill is working. That's the blade passing the little red light.
Okay, and you see them blinking, but I'm telling you, like, I counted, like, in one row of, like, 10, about 2 of them weren't working. So, give or take, about 20% of the windmills aren't working.
And they still require some sort of power to move.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. They
don't move freely. They require power, which I guess creates more power, but you're still using power to make more power. That's not how making electricity works.
There we are.
Not only do they need power to move, but don't forget about the lubrication oil.
Oh yeah, you have to. Oh yeah, that's probably like every week. Someone is going up there to add hydraulic oil to that thing.
All right, here it is. There we go. All right, here it is. This is what it is. Okay. Oh, here we are. Fowler Ridge Wind Farm. This is what it is. So for anybody who's driven between Chicago and Indianapolis, this is what it is. All right. 30 miles northwest of Lafayette, 90 miles northwest of Indianapolis. Commission day 2008. There's 355 of them on there, and it's. Let me see how many square miles this takes up, because this probably is a good like 50 square miles or so. But I mean, for a fraction, probably for 5% of the entire space that this is taking up. You can put a nuclear reactor that powers about the same amount of megawatts. Yeah, 222 wind turbines. Phase 2, 133 turbines. It's. Let me see. Annual output 1,460 gigawatt hours. Now that's like a tenth of what nuclear energy can do for. It's silly.
You can build a nuclear facility, and there's like, oh, we don't want one reactor, we want 4 of them here, and then oh no, we just put like 7 wind farms out of business.
Yeah. Hey, wait. Let's see who's doing it. Oh, it's BP. BP is running this, and Dominion Resources. There we go. So gas companies.
British Petroleum.
Yep, British Petroleum. Yep, there you go. British Petroleum. 50% owners.
Did
There
you
you go.
say gas companies on?
Yep, gas companies. I wonder
no
why.
wonder why there's so many of them.
There you go. The conspiracy never ends, folks. The conspiracy just never ends. When they're not destroying your rail cars and hey, this is what happened to the Red Line in Los Angeles. There you go. If it wasn't for the oil companies conspiring, we would have had nuclear power. We would have had trains. But hey, this is what happens when we don't have a big enough a bat in our country.
Yeah, and plus, if you electrify the rails and build nuclear power, you can officially say you have nuclear powered trains.
Yeah, where's the there we go. I'm trying to find the sound effect. There we go. There we are.
You could, they still call this electric trains.
It's
And
still
the
called
problem
electric
is
trains.
if you make a train nuclear powered and that thing derails, that's a bomb laying on the side of the rail.
I don't think anybody's asking for a nuclear powered train. I mean, you can have the electricity.
Well, the 1950s were calling and they wanted them, but everyone.
I'm saying,
found
how
out really
likely is that
quick
one to
they weren't
happen?
Practical.
Yeah, look, France, I believe, is still 70% nuclear power, and most of the high-speed rail line is nuclear powered. Not the trains themselves, but the lines themselves are powered by nuclear energy. It just makes sense.
And technically, the United States during its nuclear power building phase for like 20 years was building about 5 reactors a year. Had we doubled that to 10 reactors a year, we could have been powered 100% by nuclear energy by the end of last decade.
Legalize nuclear
And then it's
bombs.
like, and everyone's like, "Oh, nuclear power is so dangerous." So, all right, let's take all the direct deaths by nuclear power, nuclear accidents. Should we throw in nuclear bombs as well? Let's say the bombs as well. So, at the most liberal numbers, you're talking 500,000 people total worldwide, including deaths that should not be attributed to nuclear. But let's just add them in there for just a bunch of argument's sake. Just to give the worst case scenario for nuclear. According to the best estimates we got, anywhere from around 400,000 people per year are directly linked to the deaths by air pollution alone. That doesn't include the deaths linked due to shorter lifespans due to air pollution. That doesn't include anything else. And most of those are in third world countries where the environment is worse off.
Yeah, there we are. I'm showing some data on the screen right now.
So you're talking nuclear energy over the 130 years it's existed, has about the same amount of deaths as direct air pollution right now, every 10 months. And that's being very generous. If you take away the deaths from the atomic bombings and deaths that are not supposed to be directed to nuclear energy, you drop down to it being 10 months down to a couple of days.
Yeah, so here we go. So safest and cleanest sources of energy, death rates from accidents and air pollution. And this is 1 terawatt hours the annual electricity consumption for about 150,000 people in the EU. Coal, 36% of global electricity, 24.6 deaths. Oil, 18.4 deaths. And this is per 1 terawatt hour, 150,000 people. Natural gas, 2.8 deaths. Biomass, 4.6. Hydropower, 1.3. Wind, here we go. I was right. Wind power kills more people than nuclear energy. That's there we go. Wind, 0.4 deaths. Wait, 0.04 deaths. Nuclear, 0.03. Solar, 0.02.
but it's not adding in one key interesting fact. Everything but the wind and solar is heavily regulated and heavily taxed. Wind and solar are heavily subsidized and lightly regulated.
Yeah.
You put them under the same regulations and the same taxation, I can promise you, they go from the cheapest forms of electricity to average.
Oh
No,
yeah.
absolutely. And here we go. Here we go. So greenhouse emission gases. Here we go. Measured in emissions of CO2 equivalents per gigawatt hour of electricity over the life cycle of the power plant. Coal 820 tons. Oil 720 tons. Natural gas 490 tons. Biomass 78 to 230 tons. I don't know why the range, but okay. Hydropower 34 tons. Wind 4 tons. So wind is dirtier than nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is at 3 and solar's at 5. So nuclear energy is technically the cleanest.
Well, they have to dig out a hole in the ground, put in a large reinforced concrete base so it can withstand the weight, and then everything above that, besides the tower it's sitting on, is non-recyclable material. Usually a carbon-based composite or a fiberglass-based composite. And most of it cannot be recycled.
Yeah. This shouldn't be a debate. This is just common sense. No, nuclear is just the better way to do. I mean, look, it's even been like now, like even Trump talked about it on Joe Rogan. It's finally cracked into the mainstream. Once it becomes Joe Rogan, it's mainstream. I guess we can talk about it finally. We've been talking about it for like 20 years now, but hey, we have to wait for Joe Rogan. So at some point, maybe I can get on Joe Rogan.
Start off with Eisenhower's peace.
Guy. For you. Did you read the 2 memes I sent you?
All right, let's get the 2 memes. We're at 9:15, guys. So we got 5 more minutes. We're gonna end this at Okay, here we go. We got some here we go. Some rare Pokemon cards. Here we go. Even the SD90. Oh man. One locomotive, one crankshaft.
Side note on the nuclear stuff, on the nuclear plant.
Dimitri,
the
Dude, I'm trying to talk. Hey, side note on the nuclear stuff.
Yeah.
Quick reminder: don't touch the boat.
Oh man.
Meme.
Okay, guys. Wait. Somebody's asking. Adam everywhere. Okay, I'm not sure why I-95 was built next to the station. Yeah, the station wasn't built next to I-95. Look at this.
That was in Richmond.
Okay, that's funny. Yeah, we need to fix up the roads in this country. This is just silly. And that is that even is that train station even still there in Richmond?
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
I was gonna say they had to be preserved at some point. Yeah, this is just silly.
Did you read the Boogaloo one?
The Boogaloo one? Yeah, I did.
I couldn't hear. Dump truck was speaking, man. Like, come on.
Yeah, well, everybody's all at the same time over here. So anyway, alrighty. It's 4 more minutes, guys. Let's see what any last requests or any last final words we want to put in.
Not much. Not much to speak.
Not mentioned in the personal vehicle section. What's even better than a Corolla is a motorcycle. Very practical. Not only is it just for just one person.
Speaking of, Harley got rid of their CEO.
I'm sorry, the motorcycle, my friend. That also requires a license.
Oh, spin that.
Hold on, I have the article here somewhere. Unless, let's forget it. Let's leave that for another time. All right.
Yeah, let's get it next time.
It's faster than a car because of lane splitting. Unfortunately, only California allows that.
It's all fun and games until you smash into something, and then you're not driving anything for quite a while, if ever. So that's the only problem with the motorcycle.
I did have a neighbor that just got badly hurt in a motorcycle accident, but the injuries he got are exactly the same kind of injuries that can be obtained in a 4-wheel cage car accident. Especially for big cars.
Look, let's be simple. It's much easier to survive in a car. Yeah. This is like the nuclear debate. This is just common sense, man. It's just much simpler to survive in a car accident. ACB, who's been just came in the last 3 minutes. Anything you want to say, man? You're here like at the very end.
Hello?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hello.
I'm
Here. We can hear you, man.
Yeah. I don't know why my
need
new
to
button
reward this.
connected.
The injuries would not have been at that bad.
Yeah.
Nowhere near that bad.
Don't worry. Okay, ACB.
It's really worth it.
Coming from
$700.
somebody who had their ankle dislocated getting hit by a car last year. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
So we call that the road tax, but simply break down what happened in the last few weeks. My simple thoughts. The fact that Stephen Gardner stepped down, that's interesting. Good and bad change, depends on who you talk to, but change nonetheless. Loosening of deregulation, loosening of regulation on rail and transportation. I also want to see the tax policy changed on the railroad right away, and more jobs coming back to the U.S. Okay, the tariff, I get it. Short-term pain for long-term gain.
Yep. That's basically summarized everything we've been talking about, man. Yep. You got it there. All right. Well, there we go, guys. Thank you all for joining. ACB just summarized all our streams in like 2 minutes there.
Exactly.
Oh, I forgot to mention this. Did you see Amtrak's replacement for the Borealis?
Replacing the cars?
Oh, yeah, I saw that briefly, yeah.
Yeah, I think that happened last week or maybe a couple of days ago.
The bus. Because replaced with a bus service.
It's like Amtrak does not have enough cars.
Yeah, well, hey, that's why we need to start building more factories over here, guys. Okay, so we're at 9:20. I think we'll go ahead and call it a trains at the station here.
Hey, Demetrius, before Amtrak start wording him out again, read the memes again because I couldn't hear y'all.
I did read the memes. We're at 9:20 here, guys. We're at 9:20. I made a promise I'm going to cut this off at 9:20, so there we go. All right, everybody, thank you all for joining on board on this edition of the American Rail Club Lounge. We will see you all next time. Take care and Godspeed.
Bye,
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.